welcome to my filament spool box design instructional video. I am a TikToker and a YouTuber, and I'm going to post these on both those platforms, but also on YouTube, so I can have it in the description of my Bamboo Labs 3D model post. So I'm going to go over all of the parts really quickly and explain how they're assembled and how things go. First, let's get the biggest thing done. It's the filament box. The filament box is just designs in one whole print. It does still have silica on the bottom, but that is the dry and dry silica that is in this bottle. Is on the bottom, but as you can see, you have a latching point for the spool rod that you see, which is this, which is very easy to print. It's not too difficult at all. And then we have the spool adapter with those bearings. It's pretty easy to take out the bearings. I find if they're still loose, the same logic I said in the description, add a couple rolls of tape to give it a snug fit, but nothing too aggressive. I mean, the ball bearings don't necessarily need to move because these can go from roll to roll. But if you may need to size it to your roll, because rolls tend to be different shapes and sizes and not have the correct adapters. But either way, if you need to do that, yeah. Either way, this is how it looks like when it's in. So it's not like impossible to get out, but it's snug enough to where it's not going to move anywhere. It does glide pretty smoothly, and that rod very easily fits in and allows you to put it directly into the box. Now, everything up until this point is easy. This is where we get a little bit more complicated. We just have the PTFE tubing with that adapter. I have sized this appropriately, so it's going to perfectly thread itself through. And then we have where the hydrometer goes. Now, you may need to adjust sizing or maybe cut off tiny bits of plastic, but it's kind of inset and no moisture. It's a snug enough of a fit where no moisture is going to get in there. And it simply just loosely fits on top of the box. I find there's no issue with leaving the box loose. You don't necessarily have to tape these. I do. That's just me, because if it has any way of like lifting up or whatever, you just clamp it down, tape it down. It's not really going to be that big of an issue. This does fit Bamboo Labs. I have the Bamboo Labs green PLA basic roll in here, and they're all the same size. They can fit. It even works with 3D printing. It has had no issue. Some people may have an issue with this. It's just simply because it makes it easier for me to do things. But that's what I just do with my P1P. You may have to put it in different positions or for different printers. But you can even just have a longer PTFE tube that may go into your printer. It shouldn't have any issues, but you just have to dial them in for your specific uses. The reason why I make this box, I want something that's easily fucking printable, something that's no hassle. You don't have to drill holes or cut things. Most of the time it should just print simply. It's a given for bed adhesion, but I did use nanopolymer adhesive for this specific use case because I was having issues with the corners warping up for the big box. But other than that, everything works and I haven't had any issues. And last night, actually, I went through a complete spool use, meaning it straight up used every last bit, and the box was fine. It was just completely empty. As you can see, I've been able to say 10% humidity for my boxes. Is it at all necessary? No. Is it necessary for different plastics that are way more hygroscopic? Sure. PLA? Not really, but this is just how I store my plastics. The best part about this is you could throw this in a cabinet and you can have an entire row of different plastics that are going to benefit you. And some people say that's a lot of plastic to print, but guess what? That just negates you having to drill things and buy things. It's the simplicity of printing it all at once. I mean, there's arguments of 3D printing a basic fidget spinner bearing, but I just simply bought those ball bearings on the internet. The link is down there below, but as long as you get the exact size bearings, you should have no issue. I do suggest this brand because they have absolute copious amounts of the forbidden candy we were told to never eat. I will enable remixes for this situation because if people have improvements or different spool adapters that they want to post, be my guest. No commercial use by any means, but it will enable you to store your plastic and continue printing.